Understanding the true power of fasting. Fasting is a practice that holds significant spiritual and transformative power according to the Bible. It is a voluntary act of abstaining from food or other physical desires for a period of time, accompanied by prayer and seeking God's presence. Seeking God's guidance and will. Fasting is a way to humble ourselves before God, recognizing our dependence on Him. It allows us to set aside distractions and focus our hearts and minds on seeking His guidance and will. In the Bible, we see examples of individuals fasting to seek God's direction in making important decisions. Deepening intimacy with God. Fasting helps us draw closer to God and cultivate a deeper intimacy with Him. It opens our hearts to His presence and allows us to hear His voice more clearly. The act of denying ourselves physically helps us become more attuned to the spiritual realm and develop a stronger connection with God. Spiritual breakthrough and deliverance. Fasting can bring about spiritual breakthroughs and deliverance from strongholds and bondages. Jesus Himself emphasized the power of fasting in driving out certain kinds of demonic strongholds, Matthew 17:21. Fasting can help break chains of addiction, release emotional burdens, and bring freedom in various areas of life. Increased spiritual discernment. Through fasting, our spiritual senses become heightened, enabling us to discern the voice of God more effectively. It helps us develop spiritual sensitivity and discernment to differentiate between God's leading and the distractions of the world. Fasting aligns our hearts with God's purposes and allows us to discern His will more clearly. Strengthening faith and trust. Fasting requires discipline and faith in God's provision. It teaches us to rely on Him for sustenance and strength, deepening our trust in His faithfulness. By denying ourselves physical nourishment, we learn to lean on God for our spiritual nourishment, recognizing that He is our ultimate source of life and sustenance. Fasting should always be done with the right motives and a genuine desire to draw closer to God. It is not a means to manipulate God or earn His favor, but rather a spiritual discipline that deepens our relationship with Him. Through fasting, we position ourselves to experience the transformative power of God in our lives and walk in greater spiritual authority. This is the end of this episode. Follow for more.